Hi, welcome to Cherie's weight loss journey. Oh my goodness. I woke up today truly thinking about the polarizations of, our society, right? Where men with their distorted, stinking thinking has decided to say that being a nurturing man is effeminate, right? And I've been listening to some men who are trying to say, oh no, being nurturing is totally decent and human. And yet you have a segment of the men who will say, no, that's a feminine thing, right? Because, they want to be brutes, right? Because they're really weak. And so they figure if they're brutes, that will prove that they're strong. Okay? So anyway, then my mind went to, it seems to me that a lot of people want to know, well, where did these disparities, emerge? Well, in my last video, and the one before that, I spoke about, arranged marriages. Okay? Initially, arranged marriages were where a man and his family, because it was a family, it was usually a family supported decision that a man and his family would give another family a dowry, right? This is a gift of appreciation for having raised such a beautiful daughter, and it's a way to compensate the parents, for doing such a good job. And also so that the parents will know, you're not losing a daughter, but you're gaining an extended family. Okay? But anyway, the distorted masculine, he was like, oh, no. If I'm giving a dowry, I have bought and paid for this woman. And even though the families, had objected, this type of union, some families did not, because they were like, well, look, this is just one daughter of many, because you got a lot of kids, when you have 3, 4, 5 wives. So they went ahead and took the dowry, and they didn't care if they met the family or anything like that. It was just it was almost like a business transaction. They're still doing that today. In Ghana, you have men over there who are saying, well, maybe we should just get rid of the dowry altogether, right? You'll see this also in that movie starring Eddie Murphy of Coming to America, right? It's not just in the movies, right? It's not, right? And so, not to mention, these men, want their children to procreate, they may not be, given the best of husbands, but, surely, it can't be that bad. Okay, that's how that's how a lot of people think, it can't be that bad, but in some cases it is bad, right? We've learned that in time, some men decided that, this is their property. This woman that they bought, or this child that they bought, is their property. Therefore, they have the right to do whatever they want with this property. Now, this was society's fault, right? But not only did we not have, laws implemented to protect, people from being mistreated as property, we also didn't have enforcement, right? We didn't have the enforcement required, to stop this atrocity. Okay? Just like, say, when we have an animal or a pet, right? For the longest time, until we developed an animal protection society, men would cockfight, their chickens, pit fight their dogs, and we had to then create an enforcement with penalties to stop them. Okay, so as a woman, I was like, oh my gosh, they get harsher criminals for inhumane behavior towards an animal than they do a woman. And that was upsetting to me. It really was. You could see even in the church, that they will say, women, are unable to be ministers, right? That essentially means that women can only get to spirituality through a man. Okay? So this gets deep. All right? When I was in Algeria, and a lot of times we see, that men will tell women, cover your head, right? Even in the Christian church, right? There was a time that women had to cover their head, and these women used to wear bonnets. They didn't necessarily wear, the scarves like the Islamic women did. They didn't wear whole sheets around. Well, the women that wore the whole sheets, they weren't even allowed in their, places of worship, the mosque. They just wasn't. Okay, so those women was just, they were not allowed a spiritual base line at all, pretty much, so this is the type of polarity that I'm talking about. Another polarity I've also mentioned before was, that women doesn't have control over her own body, right? I mentioned that, I was beaten for, you know, pleasuring myself, right? Uh, Instead of that being, a discipline, right? Where I'm able to not put my demands upon another human being to pleasure me. I can, maintain my own, sexuality in a healthy way. And, that it was frowned upon. And, I was, punished on numerous occasions. Okay? So here's another thing, right? Where because, you women can't pleasure themselves, they figure this is going to force women, to seek out men, for sex. And, and women have seeked out men for sex. Because we do have biological urges. I see it even in my dog, when she's, in heat, when she's, on her period, she loves the female, and, so now they want to, force women, to have children by, not allowing her, access to abortions. And, the problem is that, she knows that it's very hard, to raise, a child by yourself. It's very expensive. And if you're by yourself and the man is, not feeling as if, he has to be responsible and nurturing, to help raise this child, that she's basically going to have to do everything, even if he's present, right? She's going to have to do everything, all the nurturing of the children, all of the cleaning, all of the washing, probably, going to go have a job. First she has to be educated, but recognize the fact that these men, they want to impregnate these women at an early age, right? They don't wait for them to finish, and get their college degree. They figure, they don't need a college degree. Why should a woman have a college degree? Okay? And, typically feels like, the college degree is a hindrance, because they don't want somebody talking back intelligently. No, they don't. They want an automaton that will do nothing but obey. So here's the thing, right? Would they be happy, with, say, a female robot, right? I don't know. We're just going to have to see, because, we have the technology to have female robots, that are totally compliant and accommodating, if you have the money to buy one. Okay? But what I'm going back to say is, since women, can't, have an exit plan should, they find out that the man that they're with is a brute or irresponsible, and they're, trying to outlaw abortions, that women need to understand that it's okay for you to self-pleasurize. Okay? Believe me, you don't want to put yourself in circumstances that may, alter your life forever when it comes to, being in close proximity of men, And I'll be honest, I know men who have wore a mask for 6 years, 3 years, and when that mask came off, I was confronted with, violence. And I'm like, what the hell? How did I not see this coming? And of course, the police had to be called. At one time, the police could be called, and the men were somewhat moderate, and they're like, okay, there's a mediator here. Things did get out of hand, maybe they needed to, take a time out and breathe, right? But, I say in probably the last 50 years, you have men that have escalated, the situation, right? It started off with, you better not call that police. If you call that police, I'll kill you before they even get here. Yeah. Okay? It escalated. And then, sometimes the women are like, you are out of control. I'm calling the police anyway. And, and then, not only does he try to, exert his force upon a woman, he will also try to exert his force upon, law enforcement. Okay? So, this is what I'm talking about, the polarity, that occurs with, distorted thinking. And a lot of it, are people who, are dysfunctional, mentally ill, and maybe even, retarded, meaning that a lot of times, we want to believe that, it's just an immaturity, that it's something that eventually they can learn. But when you get to the point where you cannot learn, to self-correct, or to allow people to help you self-correct, then you are indeed retarded. That means there's no fixing you. So when we hear men who say, it's okay for them to have some sort of femicide because they believe that women are evil, then this is where, women have to say, well, my gosh, I never would have thought that, this son that came out of my body that I raised, I mean, he may think that it was an easy task just for them to come out of your body, and they don't even know that sometimes, you suffer tremendously, and your life is at risk. So many women have died in childbirth. Yeah. So for him to say, well, that's beside the point. this woman here, she's not my mama, therefore I can, kill her. And it's just like, you need to listen to your mama. You need to listen to your mama. Your mama's telling you, stop killing these women. And so they're like, well, now that they're all grown and call themselves strong men, that it's okay for them to kill women. And we're like, well, how would you feel if you don't get to grow up? How would you feel if once we find out that you're a male child, we put you down? We don't have to do it forever. We just have to do it long enough for enough of the bad seeds to get off of the planet. Okay? So, here we are, a couple of days away from Election Day. We have a black female president. Vice president running for president. She did the proper steps, right? When First Lady Clinton wanted to run for president, even though she was, a representative, a first lady, right? They said that she didn't have enough experience, right? So let's think about this. Isn't it reasonable that if you're a vice president and you do a good job as vice president, that you can be promoted to actually become president? It makes a lot of sense, right? However, like I said, the polarity of the stinking thinking that it's like, no, we cannot have women equal. Well, and let's keep it equitable, because men would totally distort equality. Equitable. They're like, we cannot have, equity, between the men and the women. They can't explain why they feel so strongly about it. And what they'll do is, they'll revert to some distorted thinking that they have interpreted, in the Bible. Right? And so this is part of the problem and the rift that they're creating even amongst the men. And the men are like, listen, they don't believe that God is a God of confusion. And they're starting to see, the distorted thinking that some men have. Women had kind of seen it all along, right? They seen it all along, and they were like, wow, must be something in the testosterone. Right? Must be something in the testosterone. And then we have some of the men who will say, well, yeah, it is something in the testosterone. And we're trying to tell them that, hey, that testosterone can be good or bad, Be careful. Be careful with the testosterone, right? And, you could see that same dynamic occur when these men will take steroids that, you know, if they're not careful with the steroids, you know, they can become monstrous and destructive and unreasonable. You know, not to mention, you know, it can be bad on their health. But getting back to the natural progression of Kamala, VP Kamala, to be promoted to become a president. And like I said, you know, because, you know, the president never makes a decision all alone. Never. They want to make it seem like, well, if it's a woman, you know, in that position, you know, that this will bring an equity amongst not only women, but also women of color. Okay? So, right now, the men are trying to justify every reason of why women cannot have equity. It's like, wow, you know, you mean to tell me that you're saying that a woman that was abandoned with children, you know, and have raised children off of the blood, sweat, and saliva, and tears, you know, children by herself cannot run a country with support of the whole nation? Right? What? It's like, what kind of stinking thinking is that? You know, somebody so resourceful, you know, will sacrifice her body, sacrifice, you know, whatever it takes, you know, to raise children, even without the assistance of the baby that it, you know, of the father of her babies. Cannot, you know, run a country with the support of the whole country. I don't understand this stinking thinking. Okay? And the sad part about it is the majority of them that even have wrapped their heads around it, they will say they're just not ready for this type of change. And it's like, what? You mean after 2,500 years, you're not ready? Right? You're still going to continue to say that you're not ready until you're forced to be ready. We understand that now. Because the alternatives, it's not going to be pretty. It's just not. Right? And so many of these men out here, in their minds, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you know, we gave you freedom. We gave you this and we gave you that. And it's just like, yeah, but I gave you life. Right? And so now that came full circle. if I gave you life, maybe, next time when it comes to having, a male, I will delete it, right? And I know for some women, they're like, but life is life, why won't they just, and it's just like, yeah, that's the whole problem, right? There's not enough enforcement to encourage them to just adjust. Okay? And that's the reality of it. So, yeah. I got my lunch today. Chicken salad with toppings of pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, cran raisins, and cheese, and bacon bits, on top of spinach and cabbage. I also have breakfast of a hot link and egg whites with green peppers for vitamin C. I'm enhancing my vitamin C intake right now because the weather here is, is changing, right? It's in the 50s and 60s in the morning, and then in the 80s in the afternoon. So that's a dramatic change. And, to help my body, adjust through these, temperature extremes, I do increase my vitamin C. I've already had, my protein shake. So I've already consumed 45 grams of protein, and I added 15 grams of fiber. So I'm already doing pretty good in that respect. Although this time, I decided to get clever and bring an additional serving of protein mix with me. And all I'll need to do is add water. I'm going to test the theory that this protein drink is indeed shakeable and stirrable. We're going to put it to the test today, right? So I anticipate that by the end of the day, I will have consumed, pretty close to 100 grams of protein, give or take some protein grams. Okay? And that's exciting for me because, like I said, I've been feeling as if I've been needing to increase my protein, intensify my workout, and the way that I'm intensifying my workout is the techniques used in my workout routine. Even though I'm not walking, I'm still doing my lightweight exercises. But, placing more emphasis on concentrating on flexing my muscles during my lightweight exercise. And it does bring about a whole new intensity. I almost was able to watch that takeoff. Dang. Yeah, that reminds me, like, I used to just think it was awesome when I was younger. I would go to watch the jets take off at LAX. It just seems awesome to watch. Even landing is awesome to watch. After I got older and didn't have a time to just be an observer, I still try to, pay attention when I do see it. Yeah. Now, let's be real. Mexico, they already have a female president. They beat us. They beat us to, the punch of evolving. But of course, even in their religion, they, say prayers with female saints in mind. Not here, not so much in America, not so much in the Christianity. They don't really have much to say about women saints. If they ever acknowledge it, it would probably be like one sentence. One of the things that, I was, trying to contemplate yesterday was the difference between a chauvinist and a misogynist. And there's not a lot of difference, right? Except one admits that they truly hate and or has a disdain for women, while the other one does not admit that. But they will admit that they feel like men are superior to women. And it's just like, what? Stinking thinking. Oh my God. Everything was pretty good yesterday until they moved me around to stations that, either didn't have fans or, here's the thing about these fans, right? When you're talking about working in hot temperatures, and I mean working hard on a quota, right? For hours, kind of like how people used to do in the sugar field, the sugar cane fields, right? Or the cotton fields, that, it could be problematic on your health, especially when, you don't have air circulation. And even the equipment, begins to malfunction when it starts to get heated up. But because you have inexperienced minds that lack wisdom, they can't do the math. They don't say, oh my gosh, if the machines are malfunctioning, then it must be too hot. They don't think like that. They're like, well, let's just move it to another machine, right? Not, let's turn up the air conditioning. Yeah, I mean, here's the problem. I know I'm taking it lightly because, I'm closer to the tomb than I am to the womb. But I do feel sorry for the young people, who are forced to be led by these, people who just have no concept of real leadership. They think leadership is pushing someone. They think leadership is forcing someone, right? They don't believe in leading by example, right? But it doesn't make sense, right? Leading means you have to be ahead of them in order to lead. Otherwise, all you're doing is either pushing or forcing them. So, I'm looking to have a beautiful day. And hoping that I'll be able to stay at work the whole day. Yesterday I had to leave early because it got hot. About once our temperatures reached 85 degrees, there was several machine malfunctionings. And we know, even as common people, even our phones will malfunction should they overheat. They just do. But, I guess common sense is a superpower nowadays. Common sense is a superpower. Especially when, the bottom line for them is, well, why turn up the heat? If we turn up the heat and have to spend more money on, on electricity, that's just going to cut into our profits. And here's the thing, right? They're still supplemented by the government because, they are getting subsidies from the government, because they employ masses of people. And so their mind is, well, we'll just hire and fire a whole lot more people. And it's just like, wow. Common sense missed you. Yeah, right? Because when they turn around and they start, people start clocking, that they have worked in these places that was unhealthy and has caused them kidney damage. And start and they start having these class action suits, they're gonna lose the company completely. Right? The government's gonna have to take over the company. And if not take over the company, they will shut that company down and reorganize a similar operation. Like what? So, yeah. Right now, they're stocking the warehouses, supposedly in preparation for the winter. And in case of any catastrophic event, they've cut back on the staffing at the neighborhood clinics that they had opened up for their employees. They're now only open Monday through Friday business hours. Right? They used to offer a lot of services throughout the day, 24/7, especially medical, but not now. They're not offering that now. It's just, because they want to have more profit. And so, if they want my opinion, why they're not profiting is because, like I said, they don't treat their employees well. The hiring and firing of, the employees, is filtering back to the communities, where the communities are like, well, we we can just, line up with Walmart. Walmart will sell their products, because a lot of the products that you see even at Walmart is not necessarily Walmart's actual stocked products. That they have individuals that are also vendors working in conjunction with Walmart. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, Walmart at least treats their employees a little bit better and pay a little bit more. It's not as demanding as some of these other warehouses out here. Because, let me see, what was that, about 2 years ago, when Walmart started expanding to being in partnerships with vendors. A lot of people have went to Walmart, and Walmart was offering them, at least $5 more than say Amazon per hour. So I'm hoping, that in the process of people, realizing that, that Amazon can just course correct and, still be a viable corporation. That, it's just that some of the practices, need to be, changed, such as, stronger sexual harassment training and enforcement. They also need to have clear and transparent quotas. They also need to enable their employees to contact management directly. There are several things that, can just be corrected, adjusted, so that, they can stay, a company that people have respect for and feel that, is worthy of, support, and that people will want to work there. Right now, the majority of people feel like they're forced to work at Walmart because, there's not a lot of jobs out there. Since, we have a lot of automation, we also a lot of jobs, are being, eliminated. And and the positions that remain, are very labor intensive. Is a mild way of putting it. So yeah. I think if Kamala becomes, president, that's the first step in at least, acknowledging that women of color are valued, and that step alone is enough to change how women are perceived in the world. Because how they're perceived by a lot of men in this world is that women are evil. And like I said, as a woman, I don't understand it. As a woman, I don't understand it. Because I will tell you that the concept of aborting a male child for me is easy. Easy peasy. Okay? The concept of disappearing and having a child without somebody knowing it is easy peasy. Right? And if it was a male child, that child never existed. So, there you have it. Right? We'll even have women who would gladly, sacrifice their own life. Like I said, just the pregnancy alone is a sacrifice of our bodies and can be a sacrifice of our life. And the mere fact that they don't take us seriously, it's just like, what? And they never would have imagined that with the internet, women have been able to see that this is happening to too many women, being abused, neglected, and sabotaged. For the longest, we thought maybe it was just us. Maybe we're inadequate. We're the last thing we like to do is to blame other people. until we don't have a choice but to say, you know what? You know, I have bent over backwards. Every woman that I know has bent over backwards. You know, this has got to stop. Right? Because it's one thing to bend over backwards and be appreciated for bending over backwards. But it's a whole nother game that you're playing to have women bend over backwards and you still just want to create this femicide? Are you sick? Are you dumb? Or are you just stupid? Or worse, are you retarded? Okay? Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. Psych myself up for this approaching day. I hope that you found this video to be informative as we speak about, you know, why there was these arranged marriages. Young people, they don't know about it, you know, and you know how it got distorted, how even now, you know, in America they were like, okay, you know, you don't need to have a dowry. You can pick who you want to partner up with or procreate with. And instead, what they did was what we see now is this picking of multiple people, men and women, and with hardened hearts, right? One of the songs that, you know, play in my head when I look at this society is Georgie Porgy, you know, Georgie Porgy pudding pie kissed the girls and made them cry. Yes, when it comes to the way men, you know, would, you know, go about selecting their partners. And then after they select a partner, then we have another, you know, rhyme, which was Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and couldn't keep her, put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. You know, yeah. One of the things that I also thought about was the movies that was made by Eddie Murphy, right? And his sardonic disdain, humor, rebelling against the culture, you know, even that movie Shrek, right? I mean, think about it. Shrek, the Grumps, you know, there he made fun of, you know, culture, old people, fat people, I mean, a lot of his movies had a way of infecting our perception of the world. Yeah. And like I said, we didn't even feel like, it was possible that people would be infected with stinking thinking. We always had faith and belief that, people were um, genuinely loving. But the average person looks around and they don't see love anywhere. Okay? So keep love in your heart. Love and light. Love and enlightenment, baby. Bye.